The day the Eiffel Tower was SOL'd twice in the early 1920s, Paris was still trying to remember who it was. World War I had ended, but its shadow remained everywhere, in damaged buildings, in exhausted people, in a government struggling to rebuild trust and stability. France was alive again, but fragile, and fragile systems create opportunities. That was the world Victor Lustig understood perfectly. Victor Lustig was not born into wealth. He didn't inherit power. He created it illusion by illusion. He spoke several languages fluently, dressed like aristocracy, and carried himself with absolute confidence. People trusted him because he never looked like someone who needed anything. Before Paris, Lustig had already become a legend among con artists. He traveled across Europe and later the United States, always targeting people with money. Not because they were greedy, but because they believed they were too smart to be fooled. One of his most famous scams involved a wooden box he called a money duplication machine. He would demonstrate it producing real banknotes because he secretly placed them inside beforehand. The machine would work just long enough for the victim to relax. Then it would stop. By the time the victim realized the truth, Lustig was gone. But even that was small compared to what came next. In 1925, Lustig read a newspaper article discussing the future of the Eiffel Tower. The tower, once a symbol of innovation, had become expensive to maintain. Rust was forming. Repairs were constant. Some officials quietly questioned whether it was worth the cost at all. For most people, it was just an article. For Lustig, it was the foundation of a perfect lie. The idea that the Eiffel Tower might be dismantled sounded shocking, but not impossible. Governments dismantle things all the time, especially when money is involved. Lustig spent weeks preparing. He forged official documents bearing government seals. He created letterhead from the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. Every detail was precise, the language, the formatting, even the bureaucratic tone. Then he selected his targets. 6 of the largest scrap metal dealers in Paris, men with money, ambition, and experience dealing with government contracts. Each one received a confidential letter stating they had been selected for a private bidding process. The tower, they were told, was to be dismantled and sold as scrap metal. Due to public sensitivity, secrecy was essential. Not one of them questioned why the deal was secret. In fact, secrecy made it more believable. The meeting location was the Hotel de Crillon, a luxury hotel known for hosting diplomats and government officials. The setting alone eliminated doubt. When the businessmen arrived, Lustig greeted them as a calm, authoritative official. He explained the situation carefully, emphasizing discretion, urgency, and national interest. Then came the masterstroke. He invited them on a private tour of the Eiffel Tower. Standing beneath its massive iron frame, Lustig explained how many tons of metal it contained, how valuable it would be once dismantled, how quickly the decision needed to be made. Surrounded by steel and history, the lie felt real. Back at the hotel, Lustig asked for sealed bids. That's when he focused on one man, André Poisson. Poisson was wealthy, but insecure. New to the scrap business, eager to prove himself. Lustig noticed his hesitation, his need for reassurance. So Lustig invited him for a private conversation. In a lowered voice, he confessed something. He claimed that his government salary was modest, that his lifestyle was difficult to maintain, that he needed a personal incentive to ensure the deal went smoothly. This was not desperation. It was psychology. If Poisson reported him, the deal would collapse. If Poisson stayed silent, it meant he believed the story. Poisson paid the bribe. Then he paid for the Eiffel Tower. The transaction was completed. Within hours, Victor Lustig left Paris with a suitcase full of cash. Days passed. Nothing happened. No dismantling. No trucks. No announcements. Poisson slowly realized the truth. But he didn't go to the police, because admitting the crime meant admitting something worse, that he had believed he secretly bought, the Eiffel Tower. The shame was unbearable. That silence protected Lustig, and it gave him confidence. Months later, Lustig returned to Paris. He reused the same documents, the same story, the same confidence, and he attempted to sell the Eiffel Tower again. This time, suspicion arose faster. One dealer contacted authorities. Lustig fled the city before police could arrest him. Eventually, Lustig escaped to the United States. There, he expanded his operations even further. He ran counterfeiting schemes so advanced that even the Secret Service took notice. He manipulated bankers, politicians, and criminals alike. He was eventually captured. Not for the Eiffel Tower, but for printing fake money. Victor Lustig died in prison in 1947. The Eiffel Tower still stands. And somewhere in history, it remains the only building ever sold twice without ever leaving its place. The most disturbing part of this story isn't the crime. It's how easily it worked. Because people didn't believe the lie because it was brilliant. They believed it because it was believable. And that's the most dangerous kind of lie there is.